Good morning everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Belinda here from Visualised NZ. For the next 3 days I'm recording away from home. So I'm at my husband's workplace in a work meeting room. So I'm the only one in here, but it's a little bit echoey. And there is the sound of guys working upstairs and coming down the stairs and using the bathrooms, etc. So if you hear any noises in the background, that'll be what that is. They do know I'm recording here, but we can't help that noise if you hear anything. So that's out of the way. I'm back with a project today for you. It's one I watched maybe on Monday. I watched this project on Gail Agostinelli's channel, but it's actually a project that Cori Dahmen came up with. So I will link Gail's video, and I haven't actually watched Cori make these, so if I can find that video I'll link that one as well in the description box. But it's a really cool pocket, multiple pocket actually, made out of one sheet of A4 paper. So it's got a big pocket here, and the configuration depends on how you glue it, but because I've done away with one of the pockets that Gail had. So I've got pocket here, big pocket here, and another pocket here, a bit smaller, and then there's a very narrow pocket at the end here, and then we've got a pocket here and a pocket here. And then depending how you glue it on the page, you can either have it as a belly band or as another pocket, either on the side or top, depending. So these are really, really easy to do. There's not much that can go wrong. We use digital printouts. Now it doesn't have to be a digital printable. You can use a magazine page, a book page, whatever you would like to use. So I'm using these printables that I found the stack of the other day that I mentioned in my previous video. So I've cut round the border because my printer prints with a fine white border, so I've been through and cut all that off, and now I'm just going to get into hopefully doing a bit of mass making of these. So firstly, take your page and fold it in half lengthways. Oops, I need to flip it over. I always need to have it facing me so I can line it up better, otherwise you're going to end up with my head in the camera view. Right, sometimes you do need to consider which way you're folding it as to what's going to come out, but I prefer just to go with it. It doesn't really bother me. It's going to be different. If I try and plan it, it probably won't come out right anyway. So then we're folding it in half the other way. So far, simple. Just fold it in half lengthways and then in half that way. Pretty easy, really. Okay. Now that I've said it's easy, I'm going, what was the next step? Which is ridiculous. Gosh, what was the next step? Sorry, I think I just knocked the camera then. Right, so have your fold at the top. I've worked it out. Just took me a minute to think about it. And fold up this however deep you would like this top pocket. So I'm just going about there. So it's no set measurement, it's just however deep you would like it. Now I can't seem to do these without getting some of the white showing from the back, so I just go and trim that, and if it's just a hair line, then I do distress these. Okay, now we take the bottom end and we fold that up again to however deep you'd like your pocket. I'm going to totally lose that pretty yellow flower, but can't be helped. Okay, and crease that down. Okay, Okay, so the trick to these, once you've got the folding done, is where you glue it, because where you glue it will determine the size of your pockets and where there are openings. And if you glued everything down as you went, you'd find that you've lost some of your pocket space. So first off, I'm going to glue this bit here, this longest bit that we've got, because that's going to be closed. And I'm using my tacky glue for this. So any of your favourite glue for this. I wouldn't use glue stick, I think it would be a bit too clumsy. Right, and this edge, so your folded edge, your long folded edge is going to be glued down totally. Oops, I need to wipe up that glue. So that's the easy gluing part. That entire folded edge is going to be glued down. Oops, and I can't seem to do it without getting excess glue. I'm just going to hold that for a sec so that it has time to take. Okay, so our pocket here, we don't want to close that pocket. Now you can have this as a pocket as well, where the two halves are folded together, but I like to glue along there. But you can switch it up, and you don't have to do it the same way every time. I'm just making sure I don't glue the pocket closed accidentally. So what did I do? Did I glue it? Yes, I glued that one shut this way as well. Now I've just got a little bit of excess there. I'm going to trim off where I can see the white on the back. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I've had to reset the camera up and everything, so hopefully it's in the right place. I tried to make sure it was. It's a little bit brighter in here than at home too, so I think that's probably a good thing. I'm just going to trim off this little bit as well that I can see from the back peeping through. Now I did mean to distress this. I totally recommend, if you want to distress, to do so before you start gluing. It's going to be a bit more difficult now, but before I proceed, I'm going to go in, and that glue has buckled that paper a little bit, but it should be okay. Just adds a little bit of texture. And I've got a new sponge. Replaced the one that was crumbling, and I've put it aside just to use it for those things that are rougher and will break it up, so I can keep this sponge nicer for longer. Right, you absolutely don't need to distress around the edges. I do find, depending on the paper, that it really helps define your pockets. For example, in this one, where it's one of my ones that where the printer wasn't printing cyan, it was actually very difficult to tell before being distressed where the pockets were, because they all just blended in together. I'm getting a little distracted. I can hear a creaking door. I think it's the toilet door, just must be a bit of a draft or a breeze or something that's making it creak open and shut. Right, there we go. So I've just given that a quick distress. Much easier before you start gluing, I must say. Right, so we've glued those two bits of paper together, or two parts of the paper, and now I'm going to glue that, glue goobers, glue bubbles, glue that first pocket, this pocket here. I'm going to glue that down on the side. So far I've got, actually this pocket here. You can leave this where the two halves are folded together. You can leave that as a pocket as well, but I like the extra thickness from gluing them together. And you know, how many pockets is too many pockets? You know, I might leave some open. This is just printed on photocopy paper, so it's a bit lighter than the presentation paper I often use. So I'm just going to glue that back one together as well, which I also did on that pink one. Oops, glue everywhere. Okay, so I've got this pocket here, and I've got this pocket here, and I've got this pocket here. So same again, I can also glue this one down, or I can leave it, and I could glue this one down and just have this pocket here. So I'm going to just leave both of those and then decide when I go to use it in a journal as to how many pockets I want to leave open. Now this bottom one, we're going to make a long pocket going this way. So gluing these two edges together between the two sides of the paper. I'm going to have to clean up the glue there too, I can tell. So you've still got the pocket in behind the two sheets, but you've glued the two sheets together down the side so that you've got a pocket down here and there. Okay, so that's, if you can see that, there's a pocket here. Now if you want a second narrow pocket behind it, then just place a dot of glue on the inside of that corner and glue that down, and then you'll have a pocket there and a pocket there. But I prefer to glue it down and only gluing to the bottom of that other pocket, not all the way down. So just trying to line it up so I don't glue where I don't want to. I'll just take some of that excess off because I know it's going to end up gluing my pocket where I don't want it glued. So yeah, gluing's definitely the trickiest part of this. And there we go, there's a pocket. You could also have it as a floating pocket, so stuff it full of goodies and then paper clip it in. And if you're doing that, then I'd go around and distress the back as well. And I'm just going to do that just because I was talking about it, really. I'm not intending on having these as floating, but you never know. So there we go, there's another pocket. So just to refresh, we have a pocket here and a pocket here. And on this side we have a big pocket here, and then I've got an extra pocket then in the other one. I've got this pocket here and this pocket here, and then this wee narrow pocket at the end, at the bottom. So putting that on the page, your folded edge is the bottom or the side, so depending which way you want to glue it, whether you want these pockets to be vertical, so sitting on the page. Imagine this is my journal page. If you want it sitting like that, then you can glue it along these three sides and have a big back pocket as well here. But you've already got all these pockets in here, so it's probably better to glue it on these three sides and have it as a top pocket, or gluing just on the two sides and having it as a belly band, like so. So multiple ways you can do that and use it depending on how many pockets you would like. So I'm going to do another one. So the long fold first. I'm recording, aren't I? Yes. Just had a sudden worry that I hadn't pushed record. Okay, so long way first, then the fold in half again. I'm just using my little score tool just to press those edges nicely. Okay, and fold the top one up for X amount of however deep you want your pocket, and then your bottom two lungs again up for however you want your pocket. So you don't want to make it too shallow, otherwise that little bottom pocket is going to be too narrow for anything to actually fit into, unless you put a pencil or something in there. That might work. Okay, again I'm going to trim up this white edge. I can't seem to do it without getting the white edge in it. When Gail made them, she used double-sided paper. She'd printed both sides, and so she had a coloured edge, but that's a lot of ink to use when most of it you can't see. And she thought it was needed, but she realised as she was making them that it wasn't actually needed. Right, so I'm going to glue this, distress this first before gluing, and it's just so much easier. You can lift out the edges and get the ink where you want it. So much easier. That edge, don't need to do the bottom edge because it's going to be hidden by the other pocket. And it's really quick to ink the edges. It's not a biggie. Right, there we go. So again, ready to glue, and more glue bubbles. This glue seems to like giving me bubbles. Okay, so in this folded side, glue that down, and then I can do this pocket first. Actually works better than doing this small pocket first. That one, and then I can clean up all the glue at the same time as well on this edge. Right, so that edge is pretty simple. You just glue it all down on that folded edge. There we go. This possibly, I don't know, is it the best paper to use with these borders? Kind of adds a nice element. You can decorate these up too. I don't know whether I'll get to that. I've got very limited supplies with me because I can't bring all my supplies. So I've got this travel case. It's actually a makeup case, big makeup case on like a travel bag that my husband bought me for Christmas a couple of years ago. And so that's got all my things in it, but I obviously can't bring everything from home. So whether I decorate these or not, I'm suspecting not. I realise that my videos lately, since I've got the new phone, have been a bit on the long side. I don't know how you feel about that, whether they're too long, whether you prefer them shorter. Myself, I like watching hour-long videos, they're my preference. But I realise not everybody has the luxury of that time to sit down and watch a YouTube video. Right, okay, which way do I want to glue this one? I'm going to shut those two. So where I left that bigger pocket open between the two sheets of paper, I'm closing it on this one without gluing the other pocket closed, and also on this big one, the biggest opening, I'm going to glue those two sheets together. It's a bit hard to get the glue in there, but it is doable. This is where I think those art glitter glue bottles would be brilliant. So one day I might invest in that just so I can have the bottle with the really fine nozzle. It does appeal. It's not a cheap glue, so I'd rather just decant this glue into the art glitter glue bottle just to get that really fine metal nozzle to get into those small gaps. Right, so almost there, so go in, oops, glue this top pocket down on the edge. Sorry, I don't know if you can see this, but it's very hard to angle it and see what I'm doing. Right, and yeah, no, I don't actually like having the double pocket on the small one. Because it is small, it's going to be hard to get things in and out, and then if you've got a single layer of paper, its potential is a lot higher that it was going to tear. So there we go, we have, if I can get it in there, so we've got our big pocket here, we've got our slightly smaller one, and then we've got our teensy one back here. If I can get in, there we go, and then we've got our two here. So hopefully I'm translating okay, that you can follow my instructions. I'm not going to use this page because I'm not sure how using a person is going to translate into the pockets, and I don't sort of want an eyeball staring out at me or something. So I'm going to do one more, and I'm just going to fold it just so you can get the repetition can be helpful, and it's helpful for me too, so that I remember how to do them. I'm just trying to think whether I can do it so that I get the pretty rows. Yeah, we'll see. Not sure that I'll be effective, but you probably don't want to use so much of a directional paper, although I think that would be fine. It's worth playing around with. This is directional in some sense, but not too bad. It's really just pattern and texture. And I've made this pocket quite deep on this one. Yeah, so I'm not going to end up with pretty flowers. And it would depend what's on your paper as to how it turns out. I think a collage page designed to be torn up would turn out really well because there's no focal point on them typically. Right, there we go. So all that remains is to ink that and glue it, and we've got a third one made. So they really do go quite quick once you sort of work out where to glue them, how to fold them. The folding is pretty simple, to be honest. The gluing definitely is the trickiest part. And yeah, I do want to trim that little bit of white off. But you could distress it and just totally blend it in with the front piece. But I just like to trim it off. To me it's neater. And probably nobody else will ever know that I've gone to the trouble of trimming it off. Except if they've watched my videos. Right, again, going in and gluing this folded edge down. Here we go. And gluing the two parts of the paper together on this top pocket. Side of that one. Sorry, I've gone very quiet, haven't I? Seems to be very quiet upstairs too. they must have settled into work. It's after morning tea time, so they're probably all back at their desks. Right, and oops, blue bubble. Come on, pop, there we go. Oops, not quite high enough. There we go. Okay. Now, if you do glue on that bottom pocket all the way to the fold line, then you're just going to make the back pocket a little bit narrower, and that's fine. It's still a good sized pocket. It just means you can't fit something as wide in it as what you can if you stop at the bottom of this pocket with your glue. Hope that makes sense, but if you get to making these, you'll see what I mean. Right, and then go back in and glue these sheets of paper together. Now I could do this earlier actually if I thought about it. So perhaps when I make them again I'll glue those bits together at the same time as I'm doing this folded edge. Might actually be easier to get the glue in there. Right, one and this one here. Sorry, I hope I've been working in camera all this time. I'll have to check before I upload the video. Right, and just making sure by opening the pockets again that I haven't accidentally glued with some glue overflow. Right, so our big pocket, our slightly smaller pocket, and our little narrow pocket down the bottom, and then our two pockets here. So there we go. So I'm not sure how long we've been going, not quite half an hour. I'm wondering whether I might do some decorating. Thinking about what I've got here that I could use. I've brought along my stamped tickets. Not sure what I'm in the mood for. Maybe one of those. So I love having ones at the ready to use, apart from fussy cutting of course. Some of them are already fussy cut, but a lot of them aren't. But rather than getting the stamp set out and hunting for the stamp I want and sort of doing it that way, I like having them pre-prepared, and it just makes it a lot easier then to grab one, try it out, and if it doesn't work, then go to another one rather than stamp one out, cut it out, and then find it doesn't work and start again. So maybe that and some book page. Now where did I hide my book page stuff? That is a good question. I pulled some out specifically to bring. Here we go. I've got my folder here that I keep digitals and things in, and I've tucked the book pages in the back. So grab those out. Some scripts of eco-dyed paper. I almost could do some writing space on there, couldn't I? Kind of like that. I'm covering up all the design, but I'm not worried because it wasn't anything stand out. In case you haven't seen the previous video where I talk about these pages I'm using, they're old ones from an expired kit, so don't ask me where they came from because you can't buy them anymore. Right, I'm going to start gluing down. So I'm still going on this wee glue stick, hasn't run out on me yet. I'm sure it will some point soon. And where's my card for smooshing? Here we go. Smooshing, that's a good word, isn't it? Smooshing. Right, just going to ink around this little stamp I cut out. Like so. The problem with this sponge is that the bottom's completely rounded, whereas the other one was just a tad flatter. So this one likes to roll all over the place, which is a little annoying. Right, I just want to see if there's anything else I want to pop in there with that. So I've got my words as well, my stamped words. Okay. What would I like? Always. Always what? I don't know. We're just going with it. Down a little bit, leave a bit excess on that so I can layer the round stamp over top of it. Oops. And since everything else is distressed apart from the paper, the eco dyed paper, just give this a bit of ink as well. Put that there so I know where to place the word. Yeah, that's where it's going anyway, right or wrong. And then a little premium quality stamp. There we go. Do I want a bird or something fun, like it has a bit of something decorative? So I've got my birds here I've cut out of the Australian Field Guide. There's all sorts of different sizes and colours. Be nice to find something with a bit of colour on. Too big. He's not very colourful and he's too big. Okay, I might have to go for one of the smaller birds that definitely don't have much colour in. But the other option, before I commit to that, is in here I've got my Artsology flowers, wherever they are, printed at half size here. So maybe one of these might help bring in some colour. Oops, sorry, just knocked the camera. Oh, this one's already cut out and it's too big. Bother, maybe this wee basket. Means I'll have to fussy cut it out, but bear with me. First I have to get out the plastic. It might be right enough. It's only one sheet yet. Save me having to wrestle with the whole sheet. I'm going to have to try it, I think, to get a sense of whether it's going to fit. No, it's not. It's going to be over top of the word. Okay, bird it is. It was worth a go. Sometimes you just got to try things. If I didn't have the word there, it would have been fine. So where do I want the bird? Something like that. And I'll just give him a little bit of a distress around the edge as well, to get rid of the backing that I didn't fussy cut too well, and in between the legs where I haven't cut. Normally I'd go back in when I'm placing them down and cut it out, but actually it's such a small gap, oops, that I don't think anyone's going to notice. It's still there. Right, I need to get busy cutting out more birds actually. There we go. Oops, get that out so you're not staring at a glue stick. there we go. Now you could also put some trim or something on these pockets, or some of this blank paper would look quite nice. That's not long enough, but you sort of get the idea. Decorate them up however you would like. And definitely I would normally add some colour, since all the colour is hidden by the folds, but I just haven't got the right thing with me that's going to work. So there we go, that's how to make these Cori Dahmen multi-pockets. I don't know what she calls them, but I'm calling them a multi-pocket because there's multiple pockets. So we've done 3 of them, and this is the original one I made. I hope you enjoyed this, and give it a go. Leave me a comment down below, give me a thumbs up, pop along to my Facebook group Visual Vibes, and you can post there pictures of what you've made. I'd really love to see what you do. Okay, today we're going to call it a video, and I'll see you tomorrow again, filming from this same location. Okay, bye for now.